Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and welcome to our Westchester Weekly Update. Today is Monday, September 30th, last day of the month of September. We're on the doorstep of October, sort of halfway through the fall, or significantly into the fall. It's getting a little darker, a little later in the morning, a little earlier in the evening, but we still have terrific weather, and we have a lot to report on a lot of different elements here in Westchester County government. I'm going to be joined by Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins in a couple of minutes as we go through some of the different issues of what we have. We're going to start off by highlighting a couple of different areas that are spotlighted nationally by declaring certain months, in the months of September, the month of October, to bring awareness to different issues: domestic violence, prostate cancer, breast cancer. We think those are important things to highlight for you, and what elements of our county government are doing in those different areas of responsibility. We'll touch on a couple of very specific issues that are coming up on some other topics. Our Diverse Abilities Job Fair that's coming up. Ken Jenkins will cover that. We'll go over the parks information, and we'll give you a little bit of a rundown of where we are. As we are speaking today in late September, we're still in about 2 weeks away from releasing our capital budget to the Westchester County Board of Legislators. That will lay out for 2025 our priorities for the things we have to fix. And everybody's got a capital project list at home, probably given to you by the person who you love. We have a list too, and that's what we're going to share with everybody of what we intend to do. That'll go before the Board of Legislators, and then in the month of November we'll have the operating budget as to how the whole government will operate with the special districts, and then we'll summarize all of that before the end of the year so that come January 2025 we have a new operating budget for Westchester County. But all those things are happening now amongst all of our other projects and services. So first up to bat, we have with us the Director of the Office for Women, Robbie Schlaff. She's done a brilliant job for us during our tenure in administration. She has worked at both the county and the state level on these issues, and this particularly is to highlight the issue of domestic violence and how we spotlight some of our programs and services. So Robbie, please join us and do share with us what we need to know.
Thank you. Thank you. So, as the county executive said, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And violence within families is often hidden. And we want to remind you that it doesn't have to be hidden, that we here at Westchester County can help you or someone you know if they're being harmed by a family member. We're not immune from domestic violence. No community is. In 2023, our 42 police departments responded to more than 12,000 domestic incidents. And since 2022, our collaborative high-risk team advocates have reached out to help more than 4,200 victims of serious and potentially lethal domestic violence. And I want to thank you, George Latimer, for making this model team possible. It is a model for the state, the country, and internationally, and for your support for women and for our office. So our office works to reduce these crimes, to help people, to support people. We have offices in each of the 3 family courts, White Plains, Yonkers, and New Rochelle, where you can walk in or you can just call and we can help you. If we can't help you, we'll make sure we find somebody who can. That's how we do things. Our phone number is 914-995-5972. You can also find all of our resources on our website as well, the Office for Women. So tomorrow we are going to have a vigil for survivors at the county office building at 4 o'clock. It's called Break the Silence, and we're going to honor those who've been victimized by domestic violence. And Thursday, October 17th, is Wear Purple for domestic violence. So if you can put on some purple on October 17th, show your support for survivors of domestic violence. This simple act of wearing purple helps raise awareness and let survivors know that you care. You don't have to suffer in silence. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Robbie. Robbie Schlaff, who's head our Office of Women, and these programs on domestic violence, which involves both reaching out and caring for those who've been victimized by domestic violence, as well as treating this as the crime that it is through our various policing, law enforcement agencies. It's a very important combination. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock here, 4 o'clock tomorrow, on the steps here of the McCallion Office Building will be the candlelight vigil. We encourage you to attend and be part of that. Next up, Ken is going to cover some of our efforts going forward in the month of October on breast cancer awareness.
Thanks, George. And certainly we want to talk about Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which happens in October. And we're going to have an opportunity here from our Health Commissioner, Dr. Shalita Amla, to share tips on how to take control of your health. Finding breast cancer early is a key to successful treatment. And that's why every October we come together to raise awareness about the disease and encourage people to get tested. So with that, let me turn over to our Westchester County Health Commissioner, Dr. Shalita Amla.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and good afternoon. As you heard, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a great time for women age 40 and up to schedule a screening with their healthcare provider. Breast cancer is the second most common cancer among American women, according to the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It is also the second leading cause of cancer deaths among Westchester women. In 2021, the most recent year for which we have figures, 101 Westchester County women lost their lives to breast cancer. While most cases occur in women age 50 and older, about 10% of new cases are found in women younger than 45. The goal of screening is to find cancer early, before the individual has symptoms. Breast cancers found during screening exams are more likely to be smaller and less likely to have spread outside the breast. The size and spread are the most important factors in predicting survivorship among women with breast cancer. That's why it's so important for younger women at their annual exam to disclose any family history of breast cancer and talk with your doctor about your risk factors. This way, you can learn whether you are a candidate for earlier and more frequent mammograms and additional screening, such as ultrasound. A woman at average risk with no personal history of breast cancer and no strong family history of breast cancer and no genetic mutation known to increase the risk of breast cancer, such as the BRCA gene, and who never had chest radiation therapy before the age of 30 can follow the following schedule. Women 40 to 44 years of age may start screening with a mammogram every year. Women 45 to 54 should get a mammogram annually. Women 55 and older may switch to a mammogram every other year, or they may choose to continue to have a mammogram yearly. Screening should continue as long as the woman is in good health and expected to live at least 10 more years. We cannot control our age, our family history, or our ethnicity, but there are things we can do to tip the scales in our favor. As a preventative measure after menopause, it helps to maintain a healthy weight, be physically active, avoid alcohol and tobacco, of course that's always true, and avoid taking estrogens and replacement therapy that contain both estrogen and progesterone. And if you've taken those for more than 5 years, according to the CDC, that places you at a little higher risk. As women, we should take note of any changes in our own body. Symptoms of breast cancer can include any change in the size or the shape of the breast, pain in any area of the breast, discharge from the breast, or a new lump in the breast or under the arm. And women should bring any of these changes to the attention of their healthcare provider right away. You don't want to wait on this. This month, besides scheduling your own appointment for a checkup or a mammogram, I'd like you to do something else. Remind your mother, your daughters, your sisters. If you're married, remind your wife, regular and female friends to check themselves for any changes and to get a regular mammogram once they turn 40. Because the life you save could be the life of someone you love and can even be your own life. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Charlita Amler, who is pointing us in the direction of proper prevention for breast cancer concerns that women would have. And in a comparative way, they say that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And in the same way, men suffer disproportionately from prostate cancer. And my good friend, lifelong friend, Ed Randall is here. Ed and I were college students together once upon a time. I'm not going to date the number of years, Ed, because it'll date you rather than me. But he is a person very well known in the sports community. I've listened to his radio programs on Talking Baseball on major radio stations since I'm a big baseball fanatic. But in this case, he is doing a benefit to all men to talk about prevention through prostate cancer. And we have that we are in the month right now for prostate cancer awareness. So Ed, please, Westchester, your home county, is waiting for your words of wisdom.
Thank you. Thank you, George. And thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I'd like to just take a moment to read what I say on the air every Saturday morning when I host Remember When, a baseball nostalgia show heard on Sirius XM radio. I'm the only guy in America who stops a show every week to tell men to go to the doctors, because by and large, the demographic that is listening to my show is the demographic that is vulnerable to prostate cancer. I am so fortunate to be able to work on the programs and events for a charity that I started in 2003 called Fans for the Cure at fansforthecure.org. Now in our 20th year, we exist to educate men about prostate cancer and the importance of going to the doctor. According to the American Cancer Society, over 33,000 men are expected to die in 2023 from prostate cancer, many because their disease was detected late in the game. Many after it has already spread and displayed symptoms. But when detected early, prostate cancer has a 99% cure rate and can be addressed by a wide range of treatment choices. But to achieve early detection and best outcomes, men need to take charge of their lives, and that starts by going to the doctor. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. I don't come to this by accident because I was diagnosed with prostate cancer at the relatively young age of 47 years old. Prostate cancer is the most common non-skin cancer, and we are wrapping up on this September 30th, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Every 15 minutes, a man is detected with prostate cancer, and this year 34,000 men are going to die of prostate cancer. We encourage men to go to the doctors to get a simple PSA blood test. A simple PSA blood test is what saved my life, ultimately, and it's so easy to do. We tell men at the age of 45 to begin doing so annually. If there is a history of prostate cancer, that they should go at the age of 40. I just want to outline briefly what we have done this past month during Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Who had been in and around the game of baseball for so long, we decided at Fans for the Cure it'd be a great idea to send Ed out to have 30 catches in 30 days to bring awareness to Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Prior to coming here this afternoon, I just came from Manhattan, where I had a catch with my friend Tony Danza. We've also had catches with Cardinal Dolan and with Mayor Adams before his problems, and a number of other people. The number has exceeded 30 catches in 30 days, I'm happy to tell you. We have done screenings, free screenings, in New York and in Seattle. That is how far our influence stretches. In mid-September, we did a screening at the Seattle Mariners before and during their game with the San Diego Padres. It was the first one we had ever done out there. It was vastly successful. And then we came home, and 2 days later, we did our 11th annual screening at Yankee Stadium. And between those two screenings in that week, we screened 300 men. And in Yankee Stadium, over the last 11 years now, we have screened more than 2,000 men. We have done events in Harlem, 2 events in Harlem, which is a very important community for us during this month of September. We did 5 community health events in New York and in New Jersey. We're on the radio doing PSAs that were heard on WCBS, may it rest in peace, and WINS radio, and nationally on Sirius XM radio. And most importantly, because this is such an important place for us to be in Westchester County, we have been working with Westchester churches all year long. We have done a prostate cancer awareness seminar at Generations Church in Yonkers. We have been at the Messiah Baptist Church in Yonkers. We have had prostate cancer awareness events, education events in the Yonkers Library. We have done a free screening with the employees of the municipal employees in New Rochelle. And we will be back doing that again in January. We are in talks to also expand into Yonkers and in White Plains. Again, there are no symptoms in 90% of the cases when one is confronted with prostate cancer. I had absolutely no symptoms when I was diagnosed. So it is a blessing for us to be able to be here in Westchester with you. I am blessed to have George Latimer as my longtime, lifelong friend, and we look forward to expanding our influence in Westchester during the coming year. And for the men, for the love of God, please go to the doctors and get a simple PSA blood test. And thank you so much for this fabulous opportunity.
Well, thank you, Ed, and certainly Fans for the Cure is a fantastic opportunity to continue to bring awareness. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, and certainly all of the places that Ed mentioned, and certainly when you compare how women make sure to take care of their health by having regular doctor's visits. Guys may not do that same thing. So, Ed, it's very important, as you said, doing the catch to bring more awareness, and whether it's in church locations, nonprofit organizations, government locations, and if you don't have that opportunity, you should make sure to do that on regular screenings. Guys are really bad at that. So again, thank you for continuing to bring up that point that the PSA test is very easy and it happens at many community events. So thanks again, Ed Randall from Fans for the Cure, for all of that work that continues to go on. We're going to continue on with the program today, and we want to talk next about our Diverse Abilities Job Fair. The Diverse Abilities Job Fair, we're going to have our Director of Policy and Programs, Small Business and Chambers of Commerce, Sherry Rosen Asher, and the Director of the Office for People with Disabilities, Evan Latimer, to discuss the upcoming Diverse Abilities Job Fair, which aims to empower job seekers with disabilities. Sherry.
Thank you, Deputy County Executive. I'm thrilled to once again be discussing our Diverse Abilities Job Fairs. This is our 5th one. This administration has been supremely focused on trying to help people in the disability community to gain employment. So this is a wonderful opportunity for the Office of Economic Development and the Office for People with Disabilities to work together. This job fair is going to be October 9th at the Westchester County Center on the main floor from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We have close to 60 different employers and resource providers. We have hospitals, we have manufacturing, we have school districts who are participating for the first time. I believe there's 5 different school districts. We have healthcare agencies, we have retail, we have finance, we have law firms, we have not-for-profit, for-profit. Westchester County, of course, will be there. And, we want everyone to know that even if you are differently abled, you still can get a civil service job. We'll be there to talk about how to do that. We also will be giving resume and interview help through our Workforce Development Office. So if you know somebody who's had trouble and perhaps you think that their resume can need a little punching up or they need to practice interviewing, then please come. It is open to anyone with any type of disability. It is not specific to just physical disabilities or cognitive disabilities. We will provide accommodations. We have ASL interpreters on hand. We have the Commission for the Blind on hand. We have Spanish speakers on hand. And we know that sometimes coming to a big crowded event could be overwhelming for people. So we have people who will help you walk through and take you from table to table. If anyone has any questions, they could reach out to me. They could reach out to Evan's office. We're here to help. We currently have close to, I think, 150 people who've registered for the job fair. You do not need to pre-register, but it does help us to know who's coming, and it also will save you some time at the door. But if you haven't registered, you can show up on October 9th. If you are an employer who's not having any luck looking for people, this is a motivated group of potential employees. We still have a few tables left. You could reach out to me and I'll smush you in. Evan?
Thank you, Shari. I just want to thank the county exec and his administration for supporting this very important event. Also, thank you to Shari for her partnership. Also, Michelle Green from Access VR. This is a great opportunity because you have such a great group of people who want to work. There's a wealth of people out there that are looking for employment opportunities, and this is just a wonderful way to help them. Also, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We're having our annual awards breakfast tomorrow, October 1st. We have over 150 people registered to come. It's a thank you and awards to employees with disabilities for the great work that they've done for the past year, and also the employers who have taken that chance to hire people with disabilities and see how great of a value that they bring to the table. So with that, I just want to thank everybody and wish everybody a great day. Thank you.
Thank you again to Evan Latimer, who is Director for our Office of People with Disabilities, and Sherry Asher on our executive team, who's Director of Program and Policy for Small Business and Chambers of Commerce. And I think if you've seen in the last couple of presentations, you see our Commissioner of the Department of Health. You've seen the work being done by Office for Women, most recently for the Office of Disability, and to have people come in from these different component parts of county government, each of which has certain responsibilities and issues at hand. We're very grateful to have that kind of a level of professionalism in all the things we do. I want to highlight something that occurred last week. It was a tragedy. And the response to that tragedy represented when the county government has to move at times that are not the normal times of the workday, and yet still need to do the jobs that we're required to do. There was a death in Westchester County from a traffic accident by a one-year-old child who is from Kiryas Joel in Orange County. In that community, the child was injured here in Westchester County and was hospitalized at the Westchester Medical Center in the course of the evening into the night in a very serious condition that turned to fatality at 3 a.m. in the morning. The body was transported to our morgue at the Valhalla campus. Now, there is no autopsy or embalming under normal circumstances because the child is of Orthodox Jewish religion. And it took specific action and effort to satisfy those rules that exist in that particular faith tradition and still perform our responsibilities in the area of this health issue. We want to thank Dr. Benjamin Bristol, who's the Deputy Medical Examiner, who reviewed the body and documented for record keeping. Also, Keith Hoffman, who's the Chief Administrative Officer at our Labs and Research Office. Both of them were on site and coordinated the very difficult issue of dealing with this tragedy while it was happening. We also had the opportunity to work with Moses Vitriol of Kiryas Joel, who was in attendance and worked on behalf of that Orthodox community with our staff in trying to accomplish the task at hand. It was a tragedy. A one-year-old child's life was lost, but we wanted to show that we were sensitive to the community that the child is from and that we were able to do the responsibilities that we have through our medical examiner, labs, and research department. And again, I want to thank Dr. Bristol and Mr. Hoffman for their work in that regard. We think that is another example of us trying to do our responsibilities as a county government. Over to you, Ken.
Thanks, George. Well, we're in that season, and everyone is fully aware that we're in an election season for 2024. Those presidential elections and all elections right up and down the ballot are going to happen on November 5th. But early voting starts on October 26th. And because there's changes that have happened in the state law, you can register to vote right up to October 26th. And you certainly have right now the mail-in voting process. Some call it absentee process, but there's a mailing and voting process that is going on right now. And again, early voting starts on October 26th. That, for Westchester County voters, means that you'll be able to go to any one of the 25 early voting locations in Westchester County. You can go to the one that's closest to your place of business. You can go to ones in your community. You can go to ones that you just happen to be visiting in a community that day. And again, that starts on October 26th. Saturdays and Sundays, so October 26th and October 27th, as well as Saturday, November 2nd and November 3rd. Early voting sites are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., one of those 25. Be sure to take a look at the Board of Elections website to be able to locate those particular places in Westchester County, and once again, there's 25 of them. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that week of the 26th. So Monday, October 28th, Wednesday, October 30th, and Friday, November 1st. The early voting sites will be open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then on Tuesday, October 29th, and Thursday, October 31st, on Halloween, the places are open. The early voting locations will be open from noon to 8 p.m. So once again, those are 25 different locations, Saturdays and Sundays for those 10 days right before Election Day. You can vote 10 to 6 p.m. on the weekends. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can vote from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, noon to 8 p.m. And then we take the day off right on November 4th, and then your voting locations are open on November 5th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. There you have to go to your assigned location for voting. So the precinct that you're assigned to, you'll have those cards in your mail. You might receive those already to tell you where your voting location is. On Election Day, you can only go to your prescribed voting location. You certainly can call the Board of Elections to check out any of that information by calling 914-995-5700, or you can visit Citizen Participation, one big word, citizenparticipation.westchestergov.com. And again, it's everyone's right and responsibility to vote, so make sure your voice gets heard, whether it's early voting, mail-in voting, or actually on Election Day on November 5th. And with that, back to you, George.
So we're going to do what we usually do and touch on our parks circumstances. Ken usually gives the rundown of what's happening in all the different parks. I just wanted to highlight, as we enter the month of October, we know that's the month of Halloween, and it's the month where that area of our county in Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown have an historic connection to Halloween through the great legend of Sleepy Hollow, Washington Irving story. And there's an opportunity now for you to be able to tour the Tarrytown Lighthouse in Sleepy Hollow, and you can learn about its history with tours that are starting this Saturday, October 5th. The tours are free, and the registration is open. It's a 45-minute tour. It's limited to 24 people, and the upcoming schedule is on consecutive Saturdays, October 5th, October 12th, October 19th, and October 7th. All four programs begin at 10 a.m., and they go generally to 2 o'clock. On October the 12th, it goes just to 1 o'clock. But it's an opportunity for you to see this renovated facility. We put significant money into it, and we restored it back to its iconic task. And, of course, it sits there at Kingsland Park, right on the beautiful Hudson River, and you'll be able to enjoy it. $3.4 million to bring this back to life. You've seen us make investments in infrastructure and parks and in other things over the course of our tenure, and this is important to the tourism of that area. The tourism generates revenue as people come from outside of Westchester to eat and to stay overnight in this area, and the Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow area with its fantastic parade that's coming up a little later in the month of October all benefit from that tourism. This lighthouse was built in 1883, and this was in response to the day where you needed lighting on the river so that the boats that were coming up the river would avoid hitting the rocks or hitting the side of the river. It was a critical guide for 68 years. It was decommissioned in 1961 once the Tappan Zee Bridge was built, and this lighthouse is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So we hope that you'll make it a point to visit the Tarrytown Lighthouse, and we're very excited that we're going to have it open beginning this coming Saturday for tours. We think you'll get a great kick out of it. Put it on your calendar, something to do with the kids, and you'll enjoy it. But there's much more to do in the parks. I'll let Ken cover that before I close out.
All right, thanks, George. And tomorrow, October 1st, in Tibbetts Brook Park, we're going to continue with our wonderful Park and Read program, and that happens for folks that are ages 3 to 6, or young folks ages 3 to 6, so they can discover the joy of reading in picturesque Tibbetts Brook Park and with the captivating Read Aloud program. It's near the small playground above the pool or in the catering hall during inclement weather, and that'll continue to happen on Tuesdays, October 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. Then on Wednesday, October 2nd, the Park and Read program moves over to the Kensico Dam Plaza, and that's, again, from 11 to 11:45, ages 3 to 6. Parents or guardians must be present, and again, this Kensico Dam Plaza, it's right at the Gracie area outside of the office, and that also will be on October 9th as well at the Kensico Dam Plaza. We're going to continue on for Saturday, October 5th. Hilltop Hanover Farm and Environmental Center in Yorktown. We're going to have Head for the Hilltops. That's a 5K and kids fun run. That's 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. So the fun run is for folks that are the kids that are under 6 years old. That starts at 8:30 in the morning. The 5K starts at 9 a.m. and it's open to all ages. Then from 10 to 2, enjoy the Health and Wellness Day for a free family-centered day on human and environmental health. That's at Hilltop Hanover Farm and Environmental Center. Again, that's on Saturday, October 5th. Up in Mearstead, up in Mount Kisco, the Raptor Revolver Hike. So that's from 10 to 11:30 on Saturday, October 5th in the morning, where you'll be able to venture on a journey to seek out our feathered gliders of the skies and other feathered movers. So you got to bring your binoculars because you can't always see without them. And you're going to meet in the Meadow parking lot at Mearstead Estate. Again, that's up in Mount Kisco, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And again, that's free. Right? On Saturday, again, October 5th, at the Westchester County Center, it's going to be the Mac and Cheese Festival from 1 to 5 p.m. So whether you're a traditionalist who loves the classic cheesy goodness or an adventurous eater looking to try something new, a mac and cheese masterpiece is waiting for you at the Westchester County Center for the Mac and Cheese Festival from 1 to 5 p.m. And we're going to continue on up at Croton Point Park, right on Croton of the Hudson. We have Archaeology Day. That's from 12 to 4. And that's going to be led by the Lower Hudson chapter of the New York State Archaeological Association. All ages can dig into archaeology at the Nature Center. You'll be able to learn about Croton Point's fascinating past through bricks, bottles, flint, and shells. And finally, we have the Wildfire Walk, which is 12 to 2 at Cranberry Lake Preserve in North White Plains. Again, so you could discover what's in bloom around the lake during this 2-mile walk. Hiking shoes are definitely recommended, and those things are what's going on in our nationally accredited award-winning park system, and you certainly can sign up for the weekly e-newsletter to make sure you get all that information, and every once in a while when there's paid activities, some discounts as well. And with that, we'll turn it over to County Executive Latimer.
Thanks very much, Ken. I want to touch on an issue before we close out our report today that has been much covered in some members of the press. It affects the County of Westchester and the City of Rye. The City of Rye is my home community. It's where I served on the Rye City Council many years ago, and I've represented Rye City in every public capacity that I've had. There's been a controversy which has taken the City of Rye and Westchester County into court, and I'd like to highlight a few bullets about this. What you read in the newspaper obviously is written through the eyes of the reporters involved, but we in the county have a certain perspective which we have to share with you. Now, there is a court decision that is on appeal, so it is difficult for me to comment very generally on much of this, but I do want to lay out a bit of a timeline of things that have happened for those that follow this, particularly those who live in the city of Rye. The City of Rye government determined at some point in time unilaterally to place the county-owned Playland Amusement Park on the city tax rolls as a taxable property. It is generally understood that the assets of any government are not taxable by any other government. So we as Westchester County, we're not able to tax New York State for the presence of state roads or state facilities within the county. We can't tax the federal government where there's a federal facility that resides within Westchester County. And similarly, that's true for any of the local governments that have their assets, and we can't put county taxes on that. That applies to the city taxes and the village taxes and the town taxes as well. This is the long-established tradition. It's particularly true with parkland as well as religious institutions and so forth. They are tax exempt. Governments are not eligible to tax property that is owned by other levels of government. But the Rye City government made the determination for their reasons, their interpretation, that Playland now could be taxed, and they put it on the tax roll. By so doing, what they did was arbitrarily expand the size of the Rye City tax roll, and that has created ramifications for the Rye City School District and for the County of Westchester that are negative. And when you base that taxation on a total assessment roll established by the city, but a significant portion of that is illegally placed on the tax roll, you have inflated the amount of taxable property that both the school district and the county are counting on to pay for overall services. Westchester County sued the City of Rye, asserting that what they did was illegal. State Supreme Court Judge Ann Minahan adjudicated the case and ruled that the city's actions was, quote, unlawful, and asserted in her ruling, quote, Rye's claim to the contrary was disingenuous, end quote. The court decided in favor of the county that what the city did by adding Playland to the tax roll was illegal. Rye launched a lawsuit against the county in which they also argued that they did not owe the amount of money that they are to return to the county each year based on the taxability. Every other municipality in the county establishes a certain amount of taxable money which they send to the county. Rye City, uniquely, did not do that because of the quibble over the Playland situation. In that lawsuit, the judge ruled, quote, Rye's effort to collect taxes on Playland was a deliberate misuse of the taxing power, end quote. The city legally owes the county $14 million in taxes, which they collected and have in their possession. Rye City has appealed the judge's rulings in these cases. There's an argument that Rye City provides fire and additional police services and protection to Playland, and that argument is a valid argument. We believe, those of us who run county government, that it warrants negotiation between the City of Rye and the county to increase payment by the county to the city to cover those services. Those are negotiations that we've had with other municipalities in other facilities around Westchester County. But it is a subject of negotiation, not taxation. The city cannot levy taxes to accomplish that additional revenue. Let me highlight that in 2019, this county government went to the state for authority to expand the amount of sales tax revenue that we achieved in Westchester County. We voluntarily had the bill written to share 20% of that additional revenue back with every town, every village, and the two small cities of Westchester County. This was a windfall of money to all of those jurisdictions, which included the City of Rye. They had to do nothing to get the additional money, just accept the additional percentage of money that was coming into them. That was a major financial benefit for those cities, towns, the two cities, all the villages, and all the towns. And we did that voluntarily. You look at other counties around us, very few of them share back anything of sales tax revenue with the local government. Sullivan County, Suffolk County, Putnam County share nothing back with the local governments. We in Westchester County knew that local taxpayers pay taxes to the county as well as to local governments, and they too should have some of the relief on property taxes that occurs when you have other outside revenues. That was a sign of us caring about the ability for Rye City and every other affected local government to fund the services that they provide. I can go back to before that. On a personal level, when I was a New York State Assemblyman representing the city of Rye and other communities, we were able to obtain state authority for hotel occupancy tax revenues. That were additional revenues for the city of Rye. We did it as well for the village of Rye Brook and for the city of New Rochelle, that helped them balance their budgets with additional revenue which they did not have to generate from the property tax base. So that makes it very clear what my personal intent has been over the years and now my intent as a county executive. I served on that city council for 4 years. I've lived every day in this community for almost 40 years of my life. But the unwarranted action by the city of Rye precipitated this crisis. It has hurt the finances of our school district, which now has budgeted on the basis of higher tax revenue that they can't claim because the county is not a legitimately taxable item down at Playland. And this has caused the city school district to have a difficulty financially. Any solution to resolve this problem has to begin with the city dropping its legal appeal. They're entitled for their appeal, but we won decisively at the trial level. I believe we're going to win decisively at the appellate level. You pursue the appeal, you will spend legal fees in order to continue the appeal. We will spend legal fees to defend the appeal. And at the end of the day, I believe the court is going to rule once again in the favor of the county that what the city did was illegal. They need to drop that appeal, and they also need to admit fault. In this society, we seem to be unable to admit fault when fault occurs. But it's important because there is a principle. No municipality can turn to tax the county government to solve their own financial problems. You are double taxing residents when you do that. You're telling the residents of all of Westchester County that money has to go to one municipality to pay for that municipality's resources, and all the rest of the communities have to pay. And then that would apply to other locations all across the county and all across the state. It's a clearly established principle that you cannot tax property when it's owned by another government. Rye City must accept that and must admit error. At that point, we can sit and negotiate, and that negotiation will involve additional money from the county to the city to help support their police and fire needs, which are legitimate requests. But it has to be done cooperatively, and there must be a solution for the Rye City School District. The Rye City School District cannot be hung out to dry. Whatever money the city owes the county, once we've had an agreement of how to go forward, we can go forward with a process that would be less onerous in paying back that money. But it's important to understand what you read in the paper may give you a certain point of view on this, but I'm going directly to the judicial results of these court cases, which were declarative that you cannot tax Playland as if it were private property. It is public property owned by the county for parkland purposes. On that basis, can we resolve our issues? Most every issue in government is resolvable if reasonable people will agree to work together to do those things. We're committed to doing that on this issue and on every other issue. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thank you for watching. Have a good week, a safe week, and we'll see you next week.